Too Close to Call is a sports talk radio show brought to you by Kevin Mihalik, featuring commentary on the week's biggest sports news and events and engaging behind-the-scenes player interviews. While specializing in Philadelphia sports, Too Close to Call will also discuss issues and events happening on a national scale. Too Close to Call airs Tuesday from 1 to 2 p.m. and Saturday and Sunday from 8 to 9 a.m.
Aloha and hello out there, everybody. What's going on? This is Too Close to Call Sports with your host, as always, Kevin Mihalik. Thanks for joining me here Tuesday afternoon, just past 1 o'clock. It is February 18th. And we are on the back half of February already. Amazing how that happens that quickly. Valentine's Day weekend has come and gone. Hopefully everybody out there enjoyed a lovely Valentine's Friday right into a presidential Monday. Monday, we had the bank holidays. Some of you guys were off out there. Others of you had to go to work. In my past life, when I was in corporate America, I was one of the guys who had to go into the office and try to sell something on those days when nobody else is working. So that was always fun, trying to hit a quota like it's any other day and nobody's even in the offices to talk to you or anything like that. But we're back at it here Tuesday, just past the hour. Like I said, Kevin Mihalik, Too Close to Call Sports. If you haven't done so already, head to social media, check us out. We are live on YouTube right now. I also have us going live on Facebook through the Too Close to Call podcast feed. If the audio is a little bit funky through Facebook, that's because you're not getting the real deal experience out there. If you want that, you got to head to YouTube. Check out Usala Media, and you can follow along as we're going to have a couple of different audios coming your way with some visuals, some video included. If you're on YouTube, you'll be able to see that as well. So if you have the opportunity, please do so. Like, subscribe, follow, rate, review, all that good stuff that comes along with being alive in 2020 and everybody putting out content for you guys to consume out there. But our first segment out here, it'll be a little bit brief. We're going to bounce around kind of national news. The second segment will touch on the NBA and All-Star Weekend and everything that came along with that. And then third and finally, discussing the XFL. If there's time, touching on some Philadelphia sports. If not, we'll save the Philadelphia angle until this weekend's episode of Too Close to Call Sports on the podcast and on Usala here. But right off the bat, jumping into the spring sport that's going to become more of a staple here on Too Close to Call Sports, and that is the PGA Tour. The golf tour is getting into full gear, ladies and gentlemen. This past weekend, they were at Riviera Country Club, and for those of you that don't know, it's a beautiful country club just outside of L.A., just north of Santa Monica, relatively close to UCLA, if anybody's ever been to L.A. out there and been there. I didn't get to Riviera when I was out there a few years back for a wedding, but I did check out UCLA, USC, all of the universities, everything like that. But had I known it was out that way, I would have tried to stop by, at least seen the clubhouse, because by all accounts, it's beautiful. If you ask the players, this is one of the reoccurring venues every year that they love going to. Obviously, they love being able to be in LA for the week, go out, enjoy the nightlife, beautiful weather, beautiful course, and a great crowd was there as well. But the golfers who actually played, this was the first time this year where you get the full slate of guys, all the big names playing in it. Anybody you could think of was probably there this past weekend. But ultimately, Adam Scott came out as the champion. And this is a big win for Adam Scott because it's his first win since 2016, almost 4 years. He won at the end of February in 2016. And that's kind of amazing because Scott's won multiple majors. He's won the Masters. He's won other major tournaments. So to hear that for 4 years, I wouldn't have guessed that. He's a good golfer, so he must have been in contention a ton of times and ultimately unable to finish it here. But Shout out to Adam Scott. He went into Sunday tied with Matt Kuchar and Rory McIlroy. You golf fans out there know the name Cooch, and you casual fans have probably still heard the name Rory McIlroy. Well, he collapsed on Sunday. Kuchar ended up just falling a stroke or two short, but Rory, with a bogey and a double bogey early on, eliminated himself from contention quite early on Sunday and really made it anticlimactic. Adam Scott had a birdie on 13 or 14 coming down the stretch that really extended his lead and allowed him to play, passive golf down the stretch. And I think he had a bogey on 18 and won by a stroke. And typically when they're up two, they utilize all those strokes and go bogey and play smart. So it was Scott's 14th title overall, like I said, first from 2016. But what I want to hear from you guys out there is Tiger Woods. Obviously a polarizing figure, a polarizing name, just to say the name, outside of even sports, just in general. But the cameras follow Tiger almost to a fault. And if you talk to my old man, he can't stand that even when Tiger's not in contention, they will show Tiger Woods struggling instead of Joe Smith, nobody, winning the event, because they know that Tiger gets the ratings. It's like the Dallas Cowboys in football. Even though they're 5-7, they're on prime time because everybody tunes in to see how Dallas is going. And again, call in the hotline, 484-238-0735. Leave a voicemail, email the show, comment. I'll get you guys, some airtime here for the show. But do you like that they follow Tiger Woods? And I told my old man, it's kind of like a car crash, like good and bad. Like if he's bad, people want to watch him stink. You have people who can't stand Tiger Woods, root against him for things that have happened in his past, or you got the people rooting for him. So either way, people want to know how he's doing out there. And I bring that up because Tiger this weekend finished last out of people to make the cut. He threw up a 77 and a 78 on Saturday, Sunday to finish tied for 60 out of 60 who make the cut. And he was still, probably if you count the minutes like they do in movies, who had the most runtime or most airtime, he was up there with probably even more than Matt Kuchar. And there were times where other people were winning, and CBS is getting some flack for the broadcast because it was like 45 minutes later they showed the highlight of the guy shanking a drive and then double bogeying, but he was in the lead when it was actually happening. So go to that guy. He's winning the tournament. I want to see what's actually happening, not Tiger taking 2 strokes to get out of the bunker because he's struggling the entire weekend. But that's besides the point. Let me know how you guys feel. Again, I want to know what the vibe is on Tiger Woods out there for sure. So transitioning now, bouncing around NASCAR. That's right. You're going to hear a few minutes here about NASCAR. And the reason I bring them up and to kind of give you guys the full story is, so it's last night. I'm prepping for the show today. Hey, what am I going to talk about? Oh, that's right. The Daytona 500 was this weekend. Everybody knows Daytona. It's one of the names just, across all sports. People go, oh, yeah, okay, that's one of the big races. Well, there was a weather delay on Sunday. So when I realized this Monday, I was like, oh, who won? I click over. The race is still going on. Monday at like 6:30, 7 o'clock. Like it was supposed to finish Sunday at 4. We're 26 hours later and it still hasn't finished. So by the time I pull it up, okay, they got 10 laps left. Oh, I'll flick it on, no problem. First time I've watched NASCAR live in years and years, because on Sunday I'm either watching football or baseball or something, but Monday night, NBA All-Star break, nothing else is on. Sure, down the stretch, restart because of a crash, 2 laps left, no problem. But this is where the chaos began. And if you've been on the internet today, even Yahoo, not even sports sites, the big takeaway is obviously, ultimately, a gentleman, Ryan Newman, was in a big car crash and, just getting right to it. He is in serious condition, but is not life-threatening, the injuries. And on a real note or real event here, it truly is amazing to watch a wreck like that happen and know that the person inside the vehicle survived. And a lot of articles are being written now about, shout out to NASCAR and kind of their reaction to ultimately Dale Earnhardt, and I believe it was 2001, because what happened yesterday was extremely similar to what happened to Dale Earnhardt, and obviously Dale Earnhardt passed away, and it looks like Ryan Newman's going to make it. So all of the safety updates, the improvements to the cars, the seats, the walls, the track, the fence, all of the above, truly saved this guy's life yesterday. Now, he nobody knows exactly what's wrong with him yet or what he's going through, but the fact that he will be alive is just a testament to kind of the safety and the precaution that they're ultimately taking in this sport. But sidebar, brief bar, this happened literally down the stretch of the final lap. This guy, Ryan Newman, was in the lead. There was a guy behind him. He was trailing him. He bumps his tail, sends him sideways into the thing. He gets clipped, ends up rolling back and forth. But while this is happening, the race is finishing. Like, there's people still racing around the final turn to the finish line, and you get a photo finish, literally like a tenth of a second, thousandths of a second. It was wild. Like, the leader, he gets banged, he rolls. The next two guys, they're like, well, we got to keep going because they don't stop the race immediately. You finish the lap, and they only have one more lap to go. They go bang, bang down the stretch. They end up, Denny Hamlin wins the Daytona 500 by, like I said, a tenth of a second. Hits his second straight. And then I'm watching this, and this is where who was it? It was Fox in this instance, the producer. What are you doing, dude? Because on the television, and you can pull this up on YouTube, half the screen is Denny Hamlin in his car celebrating because he just won the Daytona 500. And I'd be celebrating too. Obviously, he's not aware that the car behind him did 4 barrel rolls and was, thrown into the wall. He's trying to finish the race and stay forward. Same with the guy he just beat. So he's celebrating as if obviously that didn't happen because in his mind, he doesn't know it happened. And then on the other side of the screen, we have a picture of literally Newman's car on the top, flames coming out of it, people going flying at it with fire extinguishers, the sand, salt, whatever, trying to pull him out. And as a human being watching this, I'm going, how do I feel right now? How am I supposed to react to this? Literally on half the screen, you got one guy celebrating because he's just accomplished one of his ultimate goals in life. So, yay, dude, that's awesome. Proud moment, positive energy. Your right eye on the other side is watching a guy going, oh my God, is he alive? Is he okay? Is he going to make it? And trying to watch this at the same time and comprehend emotionally what is happening. How am I supposed to feel? What is going on? Like, how could you do that to me, Fox? You put me through the mental grinder there for a minute. Like, oh, that's sad. Oh, yay, happy. Oh, sad. Yeah, like, oh my God, it was just tug and war until they finally cut away from it. Thank God somebody was like, dude, just focus on one. Because the winners don't know what's going on over here, and obviously they're focused on his safety and could care less about the winners, and it was a somber winner's circle, and oh man, it was a little bit of chaos, to be honest with you. But a few other points, wrapping up the first segment here. Major League Baseball refuses to go away. And as a baseball fan, I'm extremely torn because the reason they're in the media, 1,000% negative, horrible, the worst thing ever. But the fact that they're actually in the media is nice as a baseball fan for a dying sport. Nobody's going, nobody's watching, this, that, and a third. But this Astros scandal, this beanball scandal, cheating continues to just grow legs and legs. And we finally heard from the commissioner yesterday who just flubbed some of his answers here. And Dylan, we have that audio, right? We can crank that in here. For the next couple of minutes, I'm going to play you some clips of what the commissioner said, and then we'll break it down on the other side here. So throw that in, Dylan.
I will tell you this. I think the worst possible outcome for this institution would have been if we'd conducted an investigation and came back and said, we just couldn't figure out what went on. People had a right to know what happened, and we did achieve that goal. Secondly,
so he feels good.
I'm more than prepared to tolerate and listen to the debate and criticism about whether or not the punishments that have been levied in this case are sufficient. The one thing that I do take issue with, the notion that anybody in the Houston organization escaped without punishment. And I think if you look at the faces of the Houston players as they've
He's talking about the players because he didn't give them anything, and people are pissed.
They have been hurt by this. They will live with questions about what went on in 2017 and 2018 for the rest of their lives. And frankly, it's rare that for any offense, you have a punishment that you will live with for the rest of your life. So I, hope the questions will at least take into account those two thoughts. Once you have a situation in which the 2017 World Series will always be looked at as something different, whether or not you put an asterisk or ask for the trophy back, it just, I don't think it makes that much difference. I think we did what we should do. That was, we found the facts and we were transparent about them. Last, once you go down that road of changing what happens on the field, I just don't know how you decide where you stop. I do expect that we will, for 2020, have really serious restrictions on player and playing personnel access to video in-game. I think it's really important for us to send a message to our fans that not only did we investigate and punish, but we altered our policies in a way that will help make sure it doesn't happen again. I think that the back and forth that's gone on is not healthy. This is another
everybody's
topic,
talking about
on which we're trying to be proactive. I met with half the managers, the Florida contingent, before I came out here to speak to you guys. I'll meet with the other half in Arizona. I hope that I made it extremely clear to them that retaliation in-game by throwing at a batter intentionally will not be tolerated, whether it's Houston or anybody else. It's dangerous, and it is not helpful to the current situation. I understand when people say, the players should have been punished. I understand why people feel that way, because they did not do the right thing. And my reference to a perfect world was, if I was in a world where I could have found all the facts without granting immunity, I would have done that.
And again, that was Rob Manfred on MLB Network answering some questions there. And basically the takeaways, like we said, are people are upset that the players didn't get any punishments. Literally, you get half a year for steroids, and they got nothing for cheating. So the players are assuming that players are going to retaliate and basically hit Astros batters whenever they get the chance. Whenever it makes sense, just throw at them because they didn't get punished for cheating. And the next follow-up is a lot of former players who played against the Astros in 2017. So, for instance, a relief pitcher went against the Astros, gave up like 8 runs, was sent to the minors and never played in the major leagues again. He's pissed because they cheated, which is why he's out of a job now. So there's going to be some follow-up there with money and everything coming across. But ultimately, you didn't hear it in that clip, but when he was talking about taking back the trophy, he felt like, they're going to be punished enough just with the reputation of the cheaters. And for the rest of their life, when somebody says 2017 champion Astros, every single person who's a fan 60 years from now is going to go, oh, yeah, that's the team that cheated to win it. That's right. Hey, you SOB, you. That's why he feels like they'll be punished enough. And he went with the management aspect. But he called the trophy itself a piece of metal. He's basically like, I don't know why you would ask for a piece of metal back. And that isn't going over well with players either. And Justin Turner came out, third baseman for the Dodgers. He had the biggest kind of reprimand of that comment to date. And we'll play that one for you here now real quick. This one's shorter. It's just Turner's response to Manfred's comments.
Mind-blowing to me. I don't know. And also on top of that, calling the World Series trophy a piece of metal. I don't know if the commissioner's ever won anything in his life. Maybe he hasn't. But the reason every guy is in this room, the reason every guy is, working out all offseason and showing up to camp early and putting in all the time and effort is specifically for that trophy, which, by the way, is called the commissioner's trophy.
Yeah,
so
that's the
for
kicker.
him to devalue it the way he did yesterday is just tells me how out of touch he is with the players in this game. And at this point, the only thing devaluing that trophy is that it says commissioner on it.
Do you think that?
Yeah, so you could cut it there, Dylan. Basically saying that the commissioner's trophy, he said it's a piece of metal talking down that it doesn't matter at all, but it's the only reason any of these guys play. Like, yes, money, they enjoy getting paid for the love of the sport, but it's for the ring. It's for the trophy. It's why any guy plays any sport growing up. You want to win a Super Bowl. You want to win a World Series. You want to have that ring on your finger. And he was basically like, I don't want that medal back. So it was just another feather in the cap of, and I'm saying it here, ladies and gentlemen, I know I'm one of the first ones talking about it just because, I have connections in the sport, in the league. They are not on great terms right now to renew the collective bargaining agreement that I believe runs out in 2021. There's going to be a lot of give and take that has to go back and forth, or we may have another strike with Major League Baseball. This offseason was a little bit better than last. Last offseason, a lot of the players were pissed. Nobody got paid, or again, it took Bryce Harper till March to get paid. Now, a lot of the big fish went quicker this offseason, so that was a positive. But just this kind of back and forth, and the commissioner essentially stating that I'm a corporate guy. I'm all about the Benjamins, all about the dollar bills. I don't really care about a piece of metal. Who gives a crap? We just need to, squash this because it's costing us money. And the players being like, dude, that's why we play the game. That's like to win that trophy. So they're just on two totally different wavelengths about what's best for the future. All of these rules, expanding the playoffs. Gee, what do you think that's about? Dollar bills, y'all. I mean, come on. It's the only thing he wants. And the players, they're going to fight it. So unless some things change here in the next couple of, not couple of years, I guess we got a year, maybe 18 months. So sooner than later, they're going to have to get back on the same path here. But we'll break here. Our first segment, Too Close to Call Sports. Kevin Mihalik, Usula Media, Usula Radio. We'll pause for a brief word from one of our sponsors. Like I said, coming back on the other side, we're going to talk about NBA All-Star Weekend, all the way from the skills competition to the game itself, and a wild ending there. So hang around for just a brief moment. We'll be back in no time. Kevin Mihalik, thanks for sticking with us.
$150 over 90.
180 over 111.
160 over 110. I had a stroke.
This is what high blood pressure looks like. You might not feel its symptoms, but the results from a stroke are far from invisible or silent. If you've come off your treatment plan, get back on it, or talk with your doctor to create an exercise, diet, and medication plan that works for you. Go to loweryourhbp.org.
If I would have followed a treatment plan, I would not be in this situation.
Our hearts are made stronger by how we treat others.
Put her there.
The light you share can impact those around you, but so can the darkness.
Later, twerps. Did Pete saying mean things bother you?
So when you reach out to another person, take a moment to consider how they will feel and let your heart be the key to making a difference. Because of you, someone's entire day, year, or even life can change.
In every heart, there's hope.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to Too Close to Call Sports on Usula Media and Usula Radio. Just past 1:20 here on a spring-like February 18th. I think we touched the 50s out there, Dylan. Ho, ho, baby. Roll them windows down. Let's go. Baseball starts this weekend. Whew. I can't believe that. It's too soon. There's too many games. They got 6 weeks of practice before the game starts. Too many games. But that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about the NBA All-Star Weekend with the middle segment going all the way from Friday to Sunday. Man, do they do it right. They got something going on all night, all day, all night, the entire weekend. From Friday, the Rising Stars Challenge, which for those of you who don't know, basically puts, for lack of a better word, freshmen and sophomores, first and second year guys against each other. And they do it, they did the World versus the USA this time. So that was interesting to see. Obviously, it was fun. RJ Barrett from Canada against his old teammate Zion Williamson from Duke. There was that angle. J.A. Morant, he was electric with the Grizzlies. And what I love about this is, first of all, you have to know your expectations. going into events like this. If you're tuning in to Friday or Sunday, for that matter, actually wanting to see the game of basketball, it's not going to happen. This is just, it's a dunk contest, 3-point show, mano-a-mano, one-on-one isolation game. Throw them up. If you take longer than 10 seconds to shoot the ball, what the hell are you doing? I'm not trying to watch you run the motion offense, okay? Let's see Zion do some jams, dunk like 5 or 6 times, and he did. Hell, he even dunked so hard he bent the rim. Literally crooked. Like, he came down the one side 3 or 4 times in a row, had an alley-oop. Morant went between the legs and then alley-ooped it. He tilted the rim. Then another guy came down and dunked again. They had to pause the game to straighten it out. But it was wild. It was fun to see these athletes just kind of show off. Miles Bridges ended up winning the MVP. If you remember that name, out of Michigan State, Miles Bridges here in his second year. Trae Young, I was surprised to see Trae Young and Luka Doncic, obviously because they're actual all-stars. So they were playing in the game on Sunday, but they double-dipped. They played in this game. It was fun to watch, hitting threes from deep. Luka, Trae, they were messing around with each other. I think it was Luka hit a deep three in Trae's in his grill, or vice versa. I can't remember now that I'm talking about it. But solid entertainment for a Friday night. Once again, dunk contest. I wish Zion would have finished those dunks down the stretch. There were a couple he tried. He went 0 for 3 down the stretch trying intense dunk contest type of dunks, but he must have been tired after playing the game there. So ultimately didn't convert those there. But Saturday, transitioning to Saturday, we had the skills challenge, the 3-point contest, the dunk contest, all taking place. And, for those of you out there listening to the show this past weekend, I did throw out some picks here. So if you listen to me, you may or may not have won some cash. I told you I'm not taking anybody in the skills challenge because the bigs usually win or have won in the past. This time it wasn't bigs versus smalls or guards versus forwards. It was just kind of everybody scattered throughout. And the long shot, literally the 12-1, the guy who had the highest odds. So bet $100, you could have won $1,200 on Bam Adebayo out of the Miami Heat. He put on an impressive performance. Ultimately, what it comes down to in the skills position, I believe, is that pass. They throw it through the hoop. It's a chest pass or a bounce pass, whatever you want to do. But if you get stuck there, by the time they make the layup, the three-pointer, all of that, it all comes down to the pass. And Adebayo nailed it. So that's the least favorite of me for the whole weekend, the skills competition. I get it why they're doing it, but you dribble around some cones, pass, shoot, score. Get out of here with that. So next was the 3-point contest, talking about potential guys there. And my 2 guys who I thought about, there was 3 guys, right? I said Joe Harris, who's won it before, Trae Young. No, it wasn't Trae Young, was it? No, it was, first of all, Buddy Hield. I had him as one of them. Oh, and it was Devin Booker. I did say Devin Booker because Booker was a late addition and was pissed off that he wasn't originally voted as an all-star. So I said Booker's getting in there and he's going to have something to prove, and ultimately took it the whole way. But it came down to the last shot in the last round. That's all you can ask for. Devin Booker, Buddy Hield. I told you Buddy Hield. My money was on Booker, but if you wanted a long shot, take Hield. So I put $10 on Hield and more money on Booker, but I ended up winning $60 because Hield was plus 600. So pretty much broke even on the 3-point contest is really what it came down to, because the long shot hit on the small bet ended up breaking even. But I like the new format, the Mountain Dew balls for 3 points. A couple of those. They got the money ball rack in its entirety, as well as on the other racks for a total of 40 points now. It used to be 30, now it's 40. So when you see scores of 27 or 28, no, that's not out of 30 like the old school style. That's the new school out of 40. So your percentage completion there would probably be relatively similar to what it was in the past. But I like the ability to accrue points in a hurry. You hit 6 in a row, 2 of the 3 balls, all of the 5, you got 16, 17 points right there. So it allowed the energy and excitement to kind of keep up, and especially when they keep the money ball rack till the last one. Oh, they got a chance for 10 points, so they're down 8, but if they hit every one, they're still in it. That was exciting, and like I said, it coming down to the last shot, Buddy Hield, Devin Booker both putting up really high scores as opposed to just kind of average and winning was once again solid entertainment. Who the hell's going to complain about breaking even when you're throwing money out there with Pencil Vegas? But that led to the crown jewel of the evening Saturday night, the dunk contest, which has been a letdown here for pretty much the better part of a decade now. I feel like, yes, you can sprinkle in, 1 to 2 dunk contests in the past that were solid, maybe 1 to 2 dunks per dunk contest that were solid even that way, but overall tends to be a disappointment, tends to be a letdown. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, are there even dunks that we haven't seen before? Like, have you seen every dunk that literally can be completed? And now, everybody's jumping over somebody or something. Everything's pretty much between the legs now. If you don't go between the legs, what are you even doing? I mean, before, literally just going between the legs used to win you dunk contests. Now it's like a 45. Like, it's just, that's the bare minimum for the people in the contest. Oh, you went through the legs over a guy? Now we're talking, but like just between the legs ain't cutting it anymore. And I guess, the top 2 with the dunk contest, those were by far and away the favorites. Pat Connaughton at a Notre Dame, he can jump 45-inch vert, but, he's not going to be a professional dunker, as well as Dwight Howard, the big guys. They have trouble doing the athletic things that the wing guys can do. So it really came down to Derek Jones Jr., who, shout out, is a Philly guy for everybody listening out there, and went to Archbishop John Carroll, I believe it was, out in Wayne, PA, a few years back before he went to UNLV for 1 year. And now, obviously, with the Heat, this was his second time competing, as well as Aaron Gordon. Everybody knows Aaron Gordon can jump out of the gym out of Arizona, still with the Orlando Magic, competed once before with the Orlando Magic, was robbed then, and he was robbed now, if you ask me, my opinion. But watching it back, all of the dunks, the total body of work, it was closer than I thought. I thought watching live, Aaron Gordon certainly should have won. His dunk of the night was the one off the side of the backboard where his teammate Markelle Fultz actually even tried to screw that one up. Seriously, Fultz, like, I'm pissed at you enough for not being number 1 worthy overall, running your butt out of town. Now you're going down. I was like, don't screw this up for Aaron Gordon. He did. Gordon bailed him out. He threw it off like the front corner. It ended up bouncing to the side instead of straight back where he wanted it to. But Gordon's so gosh darn athletic, he was able to grab a turn and still throw it down, which even made it more impressive than it originally should have been. But I was like, Fultz, get out of here. You're going to ruin this for Gordon. And then Aaron Gordon jumps over Taco Fall. And for those of you who don't know who Taco is, he's 7 feet 5 inches tall. Basically the tallest guy in hoops. Not the most athletic, but when you're jumping over him, whoo, it was impressive. But again, it was just a dunk. I guess he had to do a windmill or something. He just went up, cleared him, dunked it. I think they were looking for a little bit more Dwayne Wade, Jones' former teammate. Everybody's got the conspiracy theories out that, apparently the judges had communicated and they wanted to make it a tie. Well, there was one too many 9s thrown out in the last one, so he ended up losing by a point. Miscommunication on the judge's part. Yeah, okay, Dwayne. You threw out a 9 and said, my guy's going to win this. This is what we got going here, for sure. So, but best dunk contest in years, maybe even 10 years. So, like, they were going back and forth. They went to a dunk-off, extra time. It was awesome. It was so much fun to watch. And it's the best it's going to be without the superstars. Like, still, like, we were watching Jones Jr. and Aaron Gordon go at it, and still in my head I'm like, man, wouldn't it be dope if this was the Greek Freak and LeBron, going at this out here, or whoever, pick your best dunkers, I don't care. But, like, Derek Jones Jr., even I'm like, who? Who is that? Like, oh, yeah, the high flyer from Miami. Cool. And Aaron Gordon's good, but he's not a superstar by any means. He's an athlete. And so, are you not entertained, I guess, is, ultimately what you're asking. And I was. So, no overall complaints. Loved it. Aaron Gordon, you got hosed, good sir. Derek Jones, take it while you can, brother. Slam dunk champion, Philadelphia Browns. So, we love you around here, man. We're all for it. But let's see. And then we had the game on Sunday, the actual game itself. And full disclosure, I was at dinner with my parents Sunday, before the game, kind of 6 o'clock looking at it. I had won some money from the XFL that weekend. We'll touch on that in the third segment. So I'm playing with some house money, playing with some winnings, right? Looking at the All-Star game. I don't know if I'm going to bet on an actual team because I don't know who's going to play hard, who's not. I'm looking at over-under total points. Over-under in this one, 306.5. Literally 150 to 150 would hit the under. Okay, this is the All-Star game. They're always in the 150s, 160s. I'm going to hit the over. I bang the over, hammer the over, no problem. Go home, pull up my phone. It now buzzes me that we now have a new format for the All-Star game in the fourth quarter. We're no longer playing a full 4 quarters. They're actually going to use what they call the Elam ending. The guy who created it, his last name is Elam, E-L-A-M, Elam ending, where at a certain point, you extend the game to a specific number of points. Now you're saying, what the hell, Kev? That made 0 sense. Okay. Basically, in the NBA, for this version, they were going to play the first 3 quarters of the game, keep a total score as well as who won each quarter. There would be like a side kind of charity function to who wins more quarters. That's cool. Awesome. Kind of gets them to play every quarter no matter the score. Then, after 3 quarters, take the total score. To the team that's winning, add 24 points in honor of Kobe Bryant, and that will be your target score. So what ended up happening is the leading team, what's the math, had 133. So meaning they played to the first team to reach 157. So if they were tied at 100, it would have been a race to 124. I didn't know this when I was betting the over-under. And I'm going, yo, if they're tied, the most points you can get is 47 in the fourth quarter. They're scoring 80 points a quarter, and it's going to be 47 in the fourth, and I'm going to miss the over-under because I didn't get the freaking alert that they changed the rules on me. Well, I got lucky, ladies and gentlemen. After 3 quarters, the score was where it was, that it came down the stretch. 157, 155, 312 pays out, hits the over-under anyway. It was fascinating to watch it down the stretch. But a few things. Okay. First of all, the game itself, fantastic. The first 3 quarters, showcase. Just like the Friday night game. Dunks, lobs, oops, threes, half court, don't care, throw it up. I want to watch LeBron try to go off the backboard, Anthony Davis, all these guys. Greek Freak, let's go to work. Fourth quarter, these dudes actually played basketball. Like, if you didn't watch the game, they legitimately played hard basketball. It was better than the Olympics. Like, it was the best of the best actually going at it. And some of the stats were, first 3 quarters, 50 total dunks. Like 17, right, per quarter. Fourth quarter, 3 dunks. That tells you right there. There were actually fouls. They were contesting at the rim. There was a minute left, except for there was no time. So there were 5 points left, and both teams were arguing with the officials. They were literally like, one had a travel, one had a foul, and both teams were arguing to try to get the points to score because, again, it's not a time thing where you foul, free throws, three-pointer, free throws. It's a race to a certain point, so you continue to play actual basketball and not fouls, threes. It's the actual sport of basketball, and it was excellent to watch. And what happened at the end of the game was probably the most anticlimactic ending you can have in this situation. And it was still pretty freaking climatic. I mean, the guy, he went to the foul line as the defense. You know you can't foul in that situation because a free throw, the game's over. So, yes, if we're on the street or we're playing pickup, recheck that, dude. It wasn't even a shooting foul. Check it up again. I would have been okay with that. But in that aspect, you can't hack a shack, so to speak, just to stop them from scoring. Kudos to the offense. They ran a nice offensive set, got a mismatch down low, caused a foul, sent Anthony Davis to the free throw line, misses the front end of 2, only needs 1 to go down, hits the second, game over, and the game ends on a free throw. So like I said, super anticlimactic, and yet, oh man, if he misses this, they get the ball back, it's not over. It's a game-winning shot no matter the circumstance. Even if you're up 10 points, there's still a shot that will end the game. It guarantees a game-winning field goal or free throw. You know what I mean? It's not just, let me dribble out the time here. The game ends on a shot, so it's basketball 100% of the time, and I love it. I love everything about it. I think the NBA needs to look at this to the G League. NCAA needs to implement it. I was watching an NCAA game. It was probably Pitt and somebody because I'm a Pitt fan, so it sucks this year, but it'll improve. Literally the last minute, 90 seconds, took 7.5 minutes because it was a foul, 2 free throws, come down, quick layup, timeout, foul, 2 free throws, quick layup, timeout, foul, 2 free throws, three-pointer, miss, foul, 2 free throws, three-pointer, make, timeout, free throws. And I was like, I can't watch this. Literally, I care about this game and I can't watch it. I had to turn it off. I was like, I'll check later, see if they won. I don't care. Get rid of it. Go to the game, 3 quarters. Okay, find out what that fourth quarter is. Or if you want to play 3 quarters until there's 5 minutes left in the game. Oh, the score is 78-78. Well, it's a race to 12. Or if the score is 78-50, it's a race to 90, not a race to 12. I probably misspoke there. But say it's 75 to 50. It's a race to 25. So you're going to 100. The team with 50 points can still win the game. If they outscore them 50 to 24, they can win 100 to 99. And that's where I like that it still allows people to play actual basketball and utilize the rules and not just, foul the guy who stinks at shooting free throws because we want to send him there. And it was excellent. And they were playing defense in the fourth quarter. And I'm looking forward to wrap up the thought here on the NBA, the second segment. I'm looking forward to next year's All-Star game because I really want to know how much of the percentage goes into each bucket here. And let me explain. Bucket number one is the passing of Kobe Bryant, the Mamba mentality. Obviously, it's recent in everybody's heart. All the basketball guys, what would Kobe do? How would he play? The MVP was renamed after Kobe based on how hard he played in these games. He just didn't take it easy. So was it based on Kobe passing, the Mamba mentality that these guys played hard and it was excellent? Or was it, number two, the Elam ending? They actually just enjoyed this different style of ending and know they have to play to its conclusion because time will not just run out. Or was it C, the fact that they put a lot of money on the line with kids' charities who were sitting in the front row, lower level section. So you got thousands of kids over here with hundreds of thousands of dollars on the line yelling at you and rooting for you. So was it A, Kobe, B, the rules, or C, kind of the money and charity? Obviously, it's a combination of all of the above, but that's where I want to know next year when Kobe would have passed away 13 months ago and not 3 weeks ago, will the effort still maintain because of the Kobe Bryant kind of allure and attitude and Mamba? Or if they do the same ending and they'll play hard again because they actually like the ending and then they want to do it. Or the money aspect. Everybody likes money. Money is motivation. So let me know your thoughts out there on where you ultimately think those, that where the percentages lie there when it comes to 33s across the board. Call the hotline, 484-238-0735. Leave a voicemail. Give me your take. We'll play it on the show. No bad takes. No stupid questions. Yeah, there are stupid questions, and if you ask one, we're going to roast you live on air. But no stupid questions. Call in. Let us know. But we'll pause right now for another break. A second word from one of our sponsors here. Got to pay the bills, y'all. But I appreciate you still listening here. Usala Media, Kevin Mihalik, 2Close2Call Sports. Hang on for just a second out there. We'll be back to wrap up the 1 o'clock hour. We'll see you soon.
Don't wait. Communicate. Make your emergency plan today.
Drink on party all night long, no driving, no sleeping, live it up like it's the weekend. Yeah, hopefully you're living it up like it's the weekend out there. It is only Tuesday, but the club's going up on a Tuesday. We're out here, third and final segment, 2Close2Call Sports. I'm your host, Kevin Mihalik. As always, if you're just joining us, where the heck were you the last 40 minutes? Come on, 1 o'clock on Tuesdays where you need to be. Usala Media, if you've been with us the whole time, I love you out there. I appreciate you guys sticking with us here. Third and final segment just before 1:45, last 15 minutes or so here. We're talking XFL football. And you're probably going, Kev, I'm done with football. The XFL. Why do you keep talking about the XFL? It's February, March. There shouldn't be football happening. Well, you know why I'm telling you about the XFL? It's because there's easy money to be had gambling on the XFL. I gave you guys the picks last Friday. We went 3-1. Couple of them parlays, and the only reason we lost one, it was the fourth game of the weekend, and was a late backdoor cover where, I was so pissed. It was almost a clean sweep over on the All-Star game. First 3 games in the XFL, and then the last one on Sunday, late backdoor cover, but we'll get to that one because first game of the weekend was New York at D.C., DC's quarterback, Cardale Jones. We talked about him. He's coming off a win here in the first weekend. Coach Pep Hamilton, Michigan ties, so I know my boy Pep, know what he can do. Told you to take DC, told you to take the under. They win 27-0, kick the crap out of New York. New York couldn't get anything going. The quarterback for New York, Matt McGloin, oh my God, was he awful. And you guys remember, I was talking to a buddy. He reminded me how bad Matt McGloin was during that preseason for the Eagles. He had to play like every game the whole time because Foles had the shoulder injury. Wentz, that's when Wentz, it was his rookie year. He got injured against the Bucs or whatever, right? Like in the preseason, and ended up missing the rest of the preseason. Foles was hurt, so he was the only guy on the roster. Oh my God, he hasn't gotten any better, except for the fact that his attitude is awesome. And when I say awesome, I'll let you guys determine what I mean there. But Dylan, run that interview he did right before halftime coming out here. And this is what we were talking about with them interviewing him after touchdowns, interceptions in the moment. We were going to get a little bit of this. So hit that up real quick.
What does this team need to do on offense to get something going here?
We need to change the whole entire game plan at halftime.
What do you need to change about the game plan? What are you frustrated about?
There's just a lot going on right out now. It's embarrassing for us here as an offense, so a lot of things we want to fix and correct.
Thanks.
Wow. The entire offensive game plan.
We got to change the whole game plan. Translation, what the hell was my coach doing this entire week? Because none of this is working. It's absolutely horrible. It's all backwards. What are we doing? Then later, he's mic'd up. He's talking to the coach. This one wasn't an interview with the media. It was just, mic'd up availability. And he's going, I don't want to throw the guy under the bus, but I've been telling him since December. Since December, we've been practicing. And come on. I'm like, oh, man, this locker room is going to be a ton of fun for you on Monday and Tuesday when people hear this because they're playing football while you're giving this interview. They don't know live, but afterwards they get on their Twitters in the locker room and they hear the quarterback doing that. So, oh, God, I wouldn't be surprised if he's cut by the end of next week or even benched. Certainly benched. And the backups here, this is where the XFL gets wild because the backup for New York, or one of them, Marquise Williams, I think is how you say his first name. Marquise, spelled a little funky. But the reason that name should stand out to you is because Marquise started over Mitchell Trubinsky at the University of North Carolina for 2 years. Marquise was the reason Trubinsky only played for 1 year before he was drafted second overall. So basically, he was the backup to the guy who's a backup in the XFL. So I don't know what that tells you about how good Trubinsky is or how bad Williams is, but either way, I just thought that storyline was tremendous. And we're going to see, more of McGloin. I'd be real curious. Nothing's come out these next couple days as kind of repercussions or follow-ups, but in the moment, that's what you guys wanted. That's, we wanted to talk to him right after an interception. He was pissed. We got to change the whole game plan. It's just, nobody, we'll make some adjustments. We'll try hard. We'll see what happens, NFL. Nope. He's like, my coach sucks. We need to change everything going on there. But we took DC. We took the under. We made easy money on that one. Next, we had Tampa Bay at Seattle. Tampa, the preseason favorite, looked horrible week one. They were going across the country to Seattle, where they had sold 30,000 season tickets, so it was going to be a heck of a home crowd. The NFL teams who fly across the country can't win in Seattle or LA, and so we took Seattle and we took the under in that one. Cha-ching, cha-ching, bang, back-to-back parlays there that hit. So we're having a hell of a Saturday night. We're 2 for 2, plus 225 odds, however much you're betting out there. Feeling good about yourselves, right? Seattle had a defensive pick 6. Tampa's quarterback continues to suck. I don't even know who the heck it is anymore. They got to bench that guy. Let me scroll here on the red. I'm trying to find it. But, oh, my God, it was horrible. It was 15-9, nowhere close to the 40s with the over-under there. So then Sunday, we're feeling good about ourselves, right? We got Dallas at L.A. This one worked in our favor. Dallas ended up with a late cover on the road. Their running back made a couple of guys miss coming down the stretch, winning some cash. What was the spread? I think 5.5 or 6, and they ended up winning by 12 or something like that. But we took them straight up. We didn't like the over-under there. We didn't parlay that one because I didn't know how Landry Jones with his coach Bob Stoops, how that was going to play out, as well as L.A. playing at home. I didn't know how to feel about their offense. And then in the fourth game, St. Louis and Houston. These are two of the better offensive teams, which is why I thought the over-under could be right around where it was, stayed away from it. Ultimately, I took Houston to cover, and we had a backdoor cover late for St. Louis. So we were they had a 4th and 12 with a minute and a half left, got like 40 yards, scored on the next play, and instead of losing by 13, ended up losing by 5. Well, we had Houston minus 7.5. So if they stop a 4th and 12, man, clean sweep for the weekend, feeling good. And that's why I say pay attention to the XFL, because what we've realized is 8 teams, 3.5 of them have quarterbacks worth of crap, basically. And one of them, PJ Walker, the Temple kid, he's playing lights out for Houston. He's the MVP frontrunner through 2 weeks, but he's got like 7 or 8 touchdowns and only 1 interception, I think it is. He's made some plays with his legs. Houston's 2-0, 28-24. So it was a 4-point game with that late cover, but it hit the over. See, those 2 guys can play. And that's where St. Louis is the other one with a quarterback. They got a kid who started for Ole Miss, Mississippi in college. He can sling it a little bit. He doesn't make the best decisions. He's a little slow processing, but he can move it. He can sling it. Like we said, we got DC with Cardale Jones. He's the third guy, more or less that you're looking at here. And those 3 teams really are kind of the best of the best. The fourth one being Dallas, Landry Jones. You guys know that name, obviously, from the Pittsburgh Steelers, as well as Oklahoma. Bob Stoops being his coach, the Oklahoma connection. He was hurt for week 1, so week 2 was his first time back to playing competitive football in some years. He threw a couple of interceptions, ultimately got the victory, but I think as he continues to get comfortable, he may be that fourth guy who really, from the quarterback position, can drive a team, can really make a difference. Because when you get into the other team, Seattle, Brandon Silvers, old Oklahoma State guy, he stinks. He missed multiple open guys over and over again, which is why we hammered the under. The LA Wildcats, who is their quarterback? I don't even remember, but he was not great once again. Oh, yeah, that's right. Josh Johnson. He had the most experience, but he's not good. He stinks again. So maybe he'll put it together. I don't know. I'm not, feeling good about it. The Guardians, we talked about McGloin. He was horrible. Tampa Bay, they were even worse in the 8th spot. So when it comes down to basically handicapping and looking at the weeks, know that DC, Dallas, Houston, and St. Louis have quarterbacks who can actually currently score points in this league. The other 4 quarterbacks cannot. They're struggling horribly, and that's going to be the downfall of the XFL, if there is one, is the quarterback play. Because like the Seattle Tampa game, Seattle-Tampa, 15-9, and 2 out of the 3 touchdowns were defensive touchdowns, pick sixes. Like, literally the offense isn't scoring. That's how bad these quarterbacks are, and they're missing open receivers. It's not like people aren't getting open or the defense is too good. It's open guys that they're missing or bad decisions throwing into triple coverage. So looking at it, and we're going to handicap this further on Friday's show for the weekend, giving you guys some of the lines and some of the bets. But overall, if you're looking to get ahead of some of the lines and some of the movement, take Houston to cover, take St. Louis to cover, take Dallas to cover, and take DC to cover if they're not playing each other. So if any of them are playing the other teams, take them to cover. Okay, cool. That's rule number 1. If they're playing each other, feel out the over-under, right? If those 4 teams are playing each other or 2 crap teams, take the unders. The unders are still in the 40s. So Pennsylvania has yet to react totally to what's happening there. So essentially, if you get another game like Tampa-Seattle, you got to hammer the under, like I just told you. If you get DC-New York, where they're playing one of the other teams who are terrible, take the under, okay? So let's all right. So we got a couple of minutes here. We're a few minutes early, so I'm not going to dive into exacts here, but basically looking at next week's schedule for the XFL. Here's a little teaser because maybe we'll run out of time. Like I said, we're going to run the Philly Sports Hour this Friday for the weekend because nothing is happening. The Sixers aren't playing. The Flyers were off. They got a heck of a week coming up. There you go. I could give you 2 minutes on that. Basically, long short of it, they're the second wild card. They're playing the first wild card team twice this week, so huge games there. But Saturday, Houston at Tampa. Take Houston to cover. Most likely take the under. Tampa's a little talented on paper, so depending on where it is, maybe stay away. Right now, Houston the under. Dallas and Seattle. At Seattle, tough place to play. I don't know what the line is there. I would assume Dallas, so maybe Dallas money line. If they're the underdog, take the points. Take the under as well. Seattle at home, their quarterback stank. Dallas isn't going to score points in that environment. Dallas, depending on the line, but I like the under. The Guardians versus St. Louis at home. Take St. Louis at home to cover. New York didn't score a point against DC on the road, lost 20-something. Even if it's 10, 11 points, take St. Louis to cover. Take the under as well. St. Louis is solid, but they're not going to be in the 30s. So you're going to have, as long as the over-under is in the 40s, take the under. DC and LA, here it is, one of the first ones. LA is probably that 4th or 15 with Josh Johnson. Like I said, where I'm not sure exactly where to go. I like DC money line, probably not great odds, depending on where the line is there. DC, LA, that's the only one in my eyes right now who could possibly hit the over. If it's at 41, 39, if it's at 47, 48, hit the under. But these offenses really, really have not performed, especially with these rules. And that ultimately returns to the quarterback play. We touched on it. It's February 18th right now. We're soon going to be in the month of March where March Madness hits and everybody's going to disappear from the XFL, except for me because I'm going to keep making money. But everybody's going to disappear from the XFL, go over to March Madness, and then we're going to return in April where, like I said, it's going to be 4 teams really, semis, finals. That's all we're looking for. But I was entertained this weekend watching football. Mix in some basketball, some Kansas, some Baylor, college hoops, things like that for sure. Like I said, NBA All-Star Game, all of that was at night. So during the day, I was watching football. What the heck are you going to do? But baseball spring training starts this weekend. Locally, the Phils, they'll be on TV a couple times with Comcast Sportsnet. But that pretty much wraps up this edition of Too Close to Call Sports here on Usala Media. If you're still listening out there, you guys are now obligated to like, rate, and review the podcast. You got to head to, if your iPhone, head to the podcast feed, type in Too Close, pull it up. We're up over 40 reviews now. I appreciate everybody going on there and giving us 5 stars, rating, subscribing, reviewing. Head to Instagram, Facebook. That post we had out there is now over 2 million views on Too Close to Call podcast. Reached over 3.5 million people. So we continue to grow and expand on Facebook. We have a couple of jobs posted on Facebook for Too Close to Call on the side, looking for sports writers, bloggers, website developers, social media interns, everything along the line. So head to the job boards there. If you want to be a part of Too Close to Call Sports, we can help you guys out, continue to grow and spread the word, as well as Usala Media and Usala Radio. We got some great things coming here, working to get this press pass finalized with the teams. We're learning the timing aspect of when they renew the contracts, when we're going, which season we'll ultimately be able to get in charge of. But we should have more of that coming here in 2020 down the stretch for sure. But as always, I'm your host, Kevin Mihalik. This wraps up February 18th's edition of Too Close to Call Sports. We're coming up on the 2 o'clock hour here on a lovely Tuesday afternoon. Hopefully everybody is doing all right out there, and this week hasn't beat you up too bad thus far. But as always, I appreciate you listening, appreciate you watching if you're on YouTube, Facebook. We love you all out there. We'll talk to you guys this weekend, and then we'll see you next Tuesday. Thanks for checking it out. Peace.